So today, I just wanted to focus on delayed gratification and how it can benefit children. Basically, delayed gratification means that you can resist the temptation to get an immediate reward in order to receive a larger and more enduring reward later. Marshmallow Test is now actually a rather famous experiment done by researchers at Stanford University. And so what they did is they would take a researcher, adult researcher, into a room with a child and place a plate in front of the child with a single marshmallow on top. And then the researcher would say to the child that she had to quickly leave the room, and the child had the choice between either eating that one marshmallow, or if they could wait until the researcher returned, they would get 2 marshmallows, so a second marshmallow as a reward. Long-term studies have then found that children who were able to wait until the researcher returned later in their life achieved greater academic success, better physical health, psychological health, and also social competence than those children who couldn't wait for the researcher to return. So delayed gratification helps to build patience, impulse control, self-control, willpower, a greater ability to plan, a greater ability to handle stress, a greater ability to concentrate, the ability to respond to reason. All of those wonderful skills that we learn if we can just delay our gratification somewhat. It's very important that we take note that there is a developmental aspect to this. So children under the age of 5 find it very difficult to delay gratification. And even though it's very difficult for them to do that, it's not a skill that's just going to come together all of a sudden when they reach 5 or 6. So we have to teach them to practice this skill throughout the early childhood years. We should be careful not to expect too much of them, but whenever there's an opportunity, generally do that. We have found, interestingly, that little girls are sometimes better at delaying gratification than boys can be, and so boys might find this particularly challenging. It's important to provide your child with opportunities to practice delayed gratification on a regular basis, as regular as you can. So try not to give them treats immediately if they whine while you're in a shopping center. See if you can wait a little bit till you get home, and tell them that if they get home they can have 2 sweets instead of the 1. We have to also try and emphasize that completing all the steps in a task is important. So when you're baking with your child, for instance, try not to get them to just help you halfway. See if you can get them to help you all the way through mixing the batter, greasing the pan, all the way until the cake is finally ready to come out of the oven. You can provide as many visual cues whenever possible. So, for instance, if your child has to wait for some very important date, try and give them a calendar so they can count off the dates, they can mark them off. Or a very clever thing I've seen sometime is to have them do a paper chain, and for each day they can take off one of the little paper chains till they get to the very last one. You can also praise their efforts instead of praising the results. So if your child does something impulsive, try not to admonish them, but you might say to them, I could see it was very difficult for you to wait there. Try and see if you can wait a little bit longer. Or when they have waited, they were able to control their impulses. Also remember to say to them, well done for holding out so long. I'm very proud of you. So try and talk about examples of people who are delaying gratification in your everyday life. For instance, you can say things like, wow, your daddy's been waiting so long to get that new car, and I'm so proud of him for saving all the money until he was able to buy it. Try and be reliable with your rewards. So a very interesting thing that's come out of the marshmallow experiment is that researchers found that children were less likely to delay the gratification the next time if they found that the researcher didn't in fact give them 2 marshmallows upon a return. Children are much more likely to delay gratification if they're sure that you're going to make good on what you promised them.